Welcome to Naan Fiction. This is a show where we talk about those things we don't talk nearly enough about when it comes to the Asian experience. Today's going to be a fun one. We are talking pop culture. I have two amazing pop culture commentary experts with me, Madelyn Chung, who is the founder, editor-in-chief of Representation Project, as well as Stacy Lee Kong, amazing writer, commentary, and founder of Friday Things. So we're going to get into all of it. Let's do this. Guys, our mouths are full. Thank you for being here with me today. Two of my favorites.
Thank you for having us.
Stacy Lee Kong, Madelyn Chung. Okay, so we have actually done stuff on the radio together, so we're not strangers, which is why our mouths are full.
We're not shy.
We're not shy
at all.
If you guys remember from the radio, I always had this segment called On the Radar. So we're going to bring it back, elevated to the beautiful meal that we have.
Of course.
And you guys are the pop culture experts, both of you. So
Stacy is.
And we are so
Madelyn is very plugged in, okay?
Both of you. So we're just a month into 2024, but a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff has gone down.
So I want your hot takes. So first of all, each of you, what is your favorite moment so far? Pop culture moment, Stacy.
This is not nice. Okay, so you know when Mos Def went on that podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that Drake makes Target music? Did you miss that? Oh yeah. My God.
I didn't know to hear that.
Oh my God, you guys, you missed that? Okay, so he goes on this podcast. It's actually a really cool podcast. It's called On the Cutting Room Floor. I didn't know about it before, but it's a fashion designer and fashion expert. And she...
Sorry, I love your nails.
Thank you.
Continue.
Don't look too closely because they're really growing out, but they're still very bright. So she usually will do all sorts of interviews with interesting people on all sorts of different parts of fashion. So she has Mos Def, the rapper, on her show, and they're talking about, really it's a larger conversation about the role of artists in difficult times. What are artists supposed to do when things are happening in the world? And is it, say stupid things about Megan Thee Stallion and just make a lot of money? Or is there a larger philosophical role for artists? So Mos Def obviously thinks the latter. And when he's thinking about the art that he wants to make, that's what he's doing. And they got onto the conversation of what is hip hop? And the host says, is Drake hip hop? And then Mos Def is why are you doing this to me? But then he answers and he's like, to me, Drake makes popular
music. He's the
he
target of hip hop?
Yeah, so the kind of music that you would play in a Target.
The store.
The store.
Yeah.
Okay, but they play Taylor Swift.
Well, at least he's not the Walmart.
True.
Fair.
Sorry, Walmart.
Fair.
For Zellers.
Or Zellers.
Sorry,
Kmart.
But it was really interesting because it was people took it as beef. People were oh, that's such a terrible thing to say. Who is even Mos Def? Which that you're not actually a fan of hip hop / maybe you're 12 if you're saying who is Mos Def. No shade to 12-year-olds, but maybe you just don't know. But it was actually not it was just an accurate statement. Drake's music
this is your favorite moment.
Yeah,
so far.
I loved it. I loved it. What is there not to love?
Okay, Madelyn.
Mine is very different. It is...
Yours is an inspiring moment.
No, it is not inspired at all. It is Jeremy Allen White's Calvin Klein hat.
I argue that does inspire something.
I woke up, I opened my phone, and I saw
and
it.
There he was.
And I'm not mad about it. But also, what my favorite part is that the couch that he was on, they left it for free.
Yeah. So it was
who left it?
The shoot,
production, whoever. Because
So
then
just
it was posted on I don't know, some marketplace.
This is why you guys are pop culture experts, because I know
you
both know about this couch.
But the couch is so funny, and also someone was Sotheby's should auction this
Yeah.
couch off, and then they got into the conversation, and they were okay, yeah, on it. But anyways, it was great. I'm not mad about that moment.
My favorite moment is way shorter than yours. It was Niecy Nash's speech.
That was
very inspiring.
That was a beautiful moment.
Okay.
Also very good.
And you know who I want to thank? I want to thank me for believing in me and doing what they said I could not do.
Yes.
Simple. Done. Okay.
But I also love that she thanks herself.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I think
I want to thank me.
Yeah, we don't do that enough.
And the acknowledgement that nobody else knows what you cried over, when you didn't believe in yourself, but you kept going. Like, no one knows all of those things. Even your best friends, even the people who love you the most, they don't see all of that.
No.
You do. And so you should thank yourself, and you should recognize that you kept going even though it was hard.
I want to praise you like I should.
Yeah.
Why did you say it like that, though?
Because I was like, am I so old that, like, this is a song that's in my head when you say
know, that's fair. That's fair.
I am the target of hope.
You were the target of pop play. That's gonna play in Target.
Yeah, I am the target of pop culture.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm
guys. What has been, I think you've already told me, what has been your most cringeworthy moment?
Wait, I
so
have
far?
to cough because I'm still laughing about. Oh my god. Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Cringiest?
Cringe moment.
Look at my notes. What did I say?
Can I give 2?
You can't cheat. Yes,
Yeah,
you
not
can give,
I thought
you
it
can
up.
give 2, but you cannot give a dissertation like Stacy.
That's unfair. That is unfair.
Mine is short and sweet.
This is our quick, like, rapid fire.
Short-
guys.
Have you met me?
Short and sweet. Jo Koy.
Yo, I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect monologue? Yo, shut up.
Oh, you stole mine. You stole mine.
That was pretty
It
bad.
was so
it was
hard to
the whole time. I was
watch.
literally like filming my TV, and then
And
I was like
don't you-
slowly taking the camera down.
Because I
It
really
was
like him. I love his stand up, and I was like rooting for him.
Yeah, but I think also it's not fair that we put so much pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like he's
Yes.
like the one and only Filipino to do this.
I know.
Everyone's counting on him. Every single Filipino, every single Asian person, and then he bombs, and it's just like it sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's my first one. The second one is Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her husband, and the comments
Oh.
about
Comments
her
are
getting the
awful.
D, and just it's
Oh,
like
yes.
a lot.
I didn't write about this last week because I ended up writing about something else, but the demise of media. But I was like horrified. And this is a vulnerable, complicated person that we're just like going to turn into a little social media star.
She has like 6 million followers or something. The last time I checked.
Okay, so you took her second one. Done.
Done.
I was actually just agreeing. I'm gonna say one, which is the Barbie Oscar nomination discourse.
Oh,
I just wrote about it for
gosh.
Friday things. I wrote like
Yes.
3,000 words, so you can just read that. But like, I hated every moment of that.
Yes.
It started as like, yeah, of course, like that's a snub, that's so dumb, and then it like spiraled into something that made me so irritated that I wrote 3,000 words.
I think
So-
it started in the right intention with, like, in terms of Ryan being disappointed that,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, that him as Ken is nominated and Greta and Margot Robbie were not.
I mean, they were just not
Yes.
for the awards that people thought they should
Exactly,
be
yeah,
nominated
so-
for.
I think, fine, it was totally fair for him to say that, and then I think it just kind of spiraled out of that, and then we saw, it's in everything. We see what gets attention.
And
And what doesn't.
Whose snubs are most important?
Yes.
Who's, you know, like when they're ignored, who do
Who
we
is, like, fully, like, guys, Origin was completely
shut out?
ignored.
Completely.
Completely. And I've seen the film 3 times. Like, the amount,
The Color
I can't-
Purple was almost
Yes.
completely shut out. Only Danielle
Yeah.
Brooks got a nomination. Like Riley, I know this is like a different type of movie, but I loved Riley
Yeah.
like so much. It got nothing.
yeah.
Like
yeah, we could go on and on about
Yeah.
that. Okay. Last one, and I'm actually going to go first. for
you
this.
should because
So
that's
we
how
don't
we make
steal
sure
it.
that there's time.
Yes. And because I want to have a conversation about this. So this is the WTF moment so far.
Okay.
Like, it might have shocked you, grossed you out. You couldn't believe it happened. And so it's kind of, I'm going to December last year, but whatever, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
It was the Archies. Do you remember the Archies show that came out on Netflix?
The Indian one.
Yeah, so it's like set in 1960s India. I hated this because 3 of those 6 main cast members are kids of really, really big stars. Like the main Veronica Suhana Khan, she's a daughter of Shah Rukh Khan, who's basically like king of Bollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude in it is the grandson of Amitabh Bachchan, who is like the godfather of Bollywood. And then there's Sushi Kapoor, who's like part of the like royal family of Bollywood.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, the whole thing made me cringe, especially because I watch like my parents watch those like India's Got Talent and those types of shows.
Yeah.
And there is such amazing talent. Hello, it's like 2 billion people population.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these
It's a numbers game. Of course
these are the Archies. So
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna ask you your moments because I need to have this conversation with you.
Okay.
What do you think about Nepo babies? How do we feel about Nepo babies?
I want to be a Nepo baby in my next life. That's how I feel.
That's fair.
Because I want that opportunity, right?
I actually want the funding.
So
Yeah.
I just want the
this
funding.
is the thing. So like we hate on Nepo babies, and usually they're like white Nepo babies.
Right.
But then I think, hey, what if I ever? This is not gonna happen. What if I ever made it so big? I think I would want to give my kids
Of
some of those
course,
benefits. And
1000%.
maybe, do you think this is true? As Asians, as marginalized communities, we kind of hate on Nepo babies because
we want
haven't
to have them. We
yeah.
want to be them.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
1000%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just not fair that I know so many brilliant racialized people, immigrant second gen people who don't have the money. It's not even about opportunity at this point because there are so many there are just not as many barriers to doing things in an entrepreneurial way. Like we're all doing entrepreneurial things.
Totally.
And it feels like every other person I know has an idea for something brilliant that isn't happening elsewhere.
Yes.
But we don't have any money. Like,
Totally. I have a screenplay that's on hold because I'm waiting on funding, which who knows when
even,
that will
like,
come.
where
and
does
then I
the
see
funding
some other like
comes?
crapola, sorry, but like
Yeah.
they're like super rich and they just like churn out movies which they themselves star in, and it just kind of like
so like, but I think that's like a very human thing to see that there's a disparity and to call it out.
yes.
They're able to hold
privileged,
those two
yeah.
thoughts, right?
Yeah.
To be able to say, I have these opportunities that I wouldn't have in any other situation, but at the same time, I have these ideas and I still work really hard and I still want to tell these
Yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm using my privilege to uplift other people, like whatever.
Yes.
But like, I think I have a variety of thoughts. On one hand, what are you going to do? Like, there's no way that a parent is going to actually kick their kid out of the home
Yeah.
and not give them any support. And what would we think of those parents if they did that? Like, from a
But
societal perspective.
What it can go too far. I'm thinking about like the college admission scandal.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's like gone.
But
to the
then,
next
so
extreme.
then, is the problem the
No.
Nepo babies or us, or like, individuals, or is the problem that there are all of these systemic barriers and Nepo babies are uniquely positioned to sort of traverse those barriers and there's no institutional, sorry, but you know who I am, but like, is there an institutional
Like, what was
effort?
the beginning of that sentence?
I'm
Do you
just
ever
saying.
feel bad for them?
No.
Never. Can you expand? Because I'm sure you're going to say something and make me feel bad.
No,
for
but
them.
like, okay, if you think about it, like if
Pressure?
someone's actually extremely talented,
Yeah.
right? And like they are getting this opportunity, like of course, right? But it's like they're going to be put to a higher standard, sure. But any downfall, it's like, well, they're a Nepo baby, they're a Nepo baby, they're a Nepo baby, they don't deserve this. But even though they might be very deserving of it,
Say it, because I wonder if I'm going to say the same thing.
But this is the thing. I don't feel bad for them because they got the opportunity to get in the door. They're gonna have to prove themselves.
right?
And
to
they often get
like,
more
say, for example, like a
opportunities,
Dakota
right?
Johnson.
Fair.
So fine, she has to
That's
prove
fair.
herself. But she got herself into the door, whereas maybe Meera didn't get herself into the door. So I don't feel sorry for
And
them.
they also
That's
get more
fair.
chances. And I would say, like, do you feel bad for us? Because I kind of do.
Of course.
Because that's what because like there's a parallel there, right? Where,
Yes.
especially as women of color, we will sometimes be told that we got opportunities that we didn't really deserve because of some kind of diversity quota. We will have our opportunities kind of undermined sometimes. And if we do fail, the consequences are so much worse.
right.
So,
Yes.
like, I love where you're going with that. It's so compassionate,
just
but I
wanna
don't.
have compassion for other people.
fair.
Because that's how I just have to get through life not
This is
angry.
why I had both of you on the panel.
But usually,
was like-
I do try to have compassion,
Oh,
but I
that's love.
don't.
And Stacey's like,
And I was like, no.
on my
There's some
watch.
structural racism at play here, and I will go into
Which
a
is fair.
7-minute
Which is
diatribe
fair.
about how.
Which is fair.
Okay, so this last one, you can only say the person's name. Who is the one to watch for
Oh, God.
2024?
Greta Lee.
Stoll?
Yes. Didn't you see that speech?
Yes.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's
Also her
amazing.
style.
But I
She's
wanted
so
you
chic.
to pick somebody else.
I'm so sorry I didn't. That's who I had in my notes.
Greta Lee.
Greta
It's
Lee.
Greta Lee.
We just love her.
I agree, but I also think
Who do you think?
is it Avantika? Or
Yes.
Oh,
Avantika
obsessed with
is a
her.
good one.
I
Obsessed.
think she
obsessed,
is like going to
obsessed.
be the
So
next
she is.
it girl. Like she's like on. I mean, she's only 18. She's actually still in university.
only 18.
She's only 18. I read that she's actually gone back now. I think she's at Columbia.
She went back to school.
She went back to school.
So after,
I love that
like,
so
after
much.
that massive press tour,
Yeah.
she's like gone back to school, which is
I'm
like
obsessed with that.
she's so young. I didn't realize she was so
hot.
young.
She's so
Her
hyped. Did you see that
photos?
photo of her and Megan Thee Stallion?
No.
Yeah, in the Teen Vogue.
It's
Was
so-
that in
yeah, I
Teen
think it
Vogue?
was Teen
Yeah.
Vogue. It was so good.
Anyways, I do feel like she has a horror movie coming out, and then she's also doing like a Bollywood series with Amazon. Like,
Love
I
that.
think she is definitely, along with Greta Lee,
Yes.
one to watch.
Yes. Love
Okay,
that.
so we've done that. Let's
please.
like have some like serious conversations now.
I mean,
Okay.
Stacey already brought it to the serious
I know.
side.
Have I ever not, you guys?
Systemic
This
racism.
is what I do.
Okay, so Madelyn,
Yes, as I hold this giant basket of naan.
can you tell people who may not know you, and I don't know why,
Correct
bit
their
about
mistake.
like your like journey in the media entertainment industry, but also how your Asian identity has influenced that. Let's talk pre-representation project.
Okay, cool. So, my journey, I grew up in a city called Whitby, Ontario, also known as Whiteby, also known as Shippy. So that'll like give you an idea of what it's like. It's actually a lot more diverse now.
Oh yeah, totally.
But growing up, it wasn't. I always loved performing, and I always loved writing. I grew up watching fashion television with my mom, and I was like, I'm going to be the next Jeannie Becker. That's just like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So since I was 16, I was like, going to go to journalism school, going to have a career in fashion journalism. My dad was very much, both my sisters are engineers, and my dad was very like, oh, you want to do journalism? Like, you're going to go cover the war in Afghanistan, right? And I was like, no, I want to go to Fashion Week. And he was just like, okay. So I did that for a while. And then, yeah, I mean,
you did accounting or journalism?
journalism, fashion journalism for a
I
bit.
didn't know you did fashion journalism.
Yeah, so I was a style editor at HuffPost Canada for a few years. And then, yeah, I worked at, there was another website that's now defunct. Well, HuffPost Canada's defunct too, but called Stylist Canada. So I was the
Yeah, I
editor for
remember
that too. Yeah. So that was, my roots were in fashion and beauty. And I don't know, like, how is my Asian identity influenced me is a really difficult question because I think I spent a lot of time rejecting it. Especially as a teen, especially in my early 20s. It was just something that I wasn't necessarily proud of. I really wanted to assimilate. I was very, very lucky that HuffPost Canada had a very diverse newsroom. My managing editor, Lisa Young, was a Chinese, is she Trini? Yeah, woman. And so that was really, I think I was very lucky in that sense because I think a lot of people have experiences with just white newsrooms.
Yes.
And I was surrounded by, diversity. But that's not to say we didn't make mistakes,
Sure.
Like, I think they taught me a lot about thinking outside the box when it came to diversity because I was so used to just a specific way
Yeah.
of, even if you're putting together, like, a gallery of winter coats, like, Lisa would say, hey, make sure you include like different sizing and images of
Yes,
different
yeah.
sizes of coats. And I was like, again, not something that I thought of. So it was really a lot of unlearning. But I think it wasn't until Crazy Rich Asians came out, 2018, I started to write about my identity. Stacy actually edited this piece for me for Flair, RIP, of how, Crazy Rich Asians made me feel seen and it made me
Yes.
feel like I mattered. And it was so well received. Kevin Kwan himself shared it and was like, this is a must read. So that was like a super proud moment.
Amazing.
And from there I was like, okay, this stuff resonates with people. And I was kind of in a position where I was like, I'm so tired of writing about celebrity fashion, things and that. Like, I just don't feel fulfilled. I want to do something more. And being able to write about identity, I was like, oh, this is what I can do. But I found that when I was pitching to a lot of people, aside from Flair was really, really great, I will say. They said that my content when it was about identity was too niche. So I was like, okay, niche for that says a lot about, who you
Yeah.
think your audience is.
Yes.
And also your grasp of the demographics of Canada.
Right. So finally I was kind of like, F it. I just want to do my own thing. I want to write stories my own way. I don't want to have to explain myself to people. I don't want to have to write for a white audience anymore. So then Represent Asian Project was born.
Thank God. It is. If you guys have not checked it out, it is so good.
Thank you.
Your baby is so good.
Thank
and
you.
it's so, you can see, I mean, it's grown so quickly.
Yeah. It's almost 4. It's
I
gonna
know.
be 4 this
Huge
year.
kudos to you.
Friday things.
Like Friday things.
Huge kudos
Wild.
to you. Huge
Thank you.
Kudos.
Thank
kudos.
you.
Kudos.
Kudos.
Guys, I have slept 2 hours today.
Honestly, I'm very proud of you. If we're talking about like
Sleeping
people
2
building
hours.
things,
How come I'm all glitzy and you guys aren't? You just
we didn't get the
because
memo.
we didn't get the memo.
Glam
We messed up. We messed
So
up.
I feel embarrassed. I came from a shoot and I'm too lazy and tired to change. And like turtlenecks are not good for.
But I
you
didn't
look
come from a shoot,
amazing.
and I'm also wearing a turtleneck that are not good for microphones, so it's fine.
Fine.
No judgment.
Let's move on. Okay. Stacy, I think you and I over a dosa, a brunch,
A coffee. No meal, just tears.
Yes. We have talked about, like you alluded to as well, those challenging moments in our careers. What is there a defining moment that you had in your career where you were like, time to change?
Yeah. So I tell this story a lot. In 2019, I applied for 3 senior level jobs. One was an editor-in-chief, one was a deputy editor, one was an executive editor. And my whole career, I have been, in my whole life actually, I've been like a total overachiever. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, wait, pause.
There's another round of
Food.
food for you.
Amazing.
Thank
This is
you,
like my
chef.
dream morning.
No room.
I know, here.
No, we'll remove it for you if you want. You can remove from here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
How's everything up till now?
Really
Very
good.
So delicious. Thank you. Wait, what happened? Where did the food go?
No, there's more food coming. Don't worry, there's more food coming. I can see it, don't worry.
Okay.
So we got the salmon for you now.
Ooh.
So excited.
This is South Indian flavored salmon.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Leaves, mustard seeds, cinnamon powders, and fennel beans.
Beautiful.
So
We'll
good.
serve it on the bed of seasonal vegetables
Okay.
with some rice for you.
Love that.
And I have a special sauce over here.
Oh.
Special
Oh. Goodness.
We need to film Chef.
I know.
Chef is ready for his close-up. I know.
Wait. Is this special sauce?
Yes, it's coming back. It's coming back. Hang on. Okay.
So this is Malabar sauce. It's a Kerala sauce, which is having a flavor of coconut and coconut oil in this.
Oh.
I love all these reactions.
I just was thinking, like, why am I making sound effects?
That's,
I love it.
that's
Amazing.
sauce.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Okay, wait. We actually do have to try this because it looks delicious. Like, I can't tell my story. I'm gonna finish it.
Okay,
I just need to pause for a moment.
Okay, I'm just gonna continue eating what I was eating,
Fair.
I don't know, once
Grab
we
your
started,
food,
I was like, I'm so hungry.
and then Stacy
Oh,
applied.
Tracy will tell her story.
And then I'll tell my story in a moment. Please hold. Can I have some chicken? Here. Do you want?
You pass it around.
Oh.
So good.
I'm so excited.
Give me some of those veggies.
I'm glad you guys are eating.
Oh, do some of your guests not? Have you met us? We plan most,
There's, like, no
you
shame.
included, we plan most of our outings around food.
Yeah. True. Okay. Please continue.
Okay. As I take one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Tell us the
Okay,
story.
so in 2019, I applied for these 3 jobs.
Is it too spicy?
No, it's so good. Sorry.
I was like, are you okay? We're just very happy right now. And my whole career, I'd been a total overachiever. My whole life, I've been a total overachiever. I was the type of person that would work while I was on holiday. I would work even though I wasn't getting paid. I would work even though the rate was really low. I didn't say no to things. I didn't miss deadlines. I worked really hard all the time. And for a while, that worked. And like my bosses and my mentors would tell me that that's what I had to do to be successful. And I like moved up pretty quickly when I was junior. But then in 2019, I was asked to apply for some of those jobs, and some of them I applied for on my own, and I didn't get any of them. And I had a real like crisis of confidence in myself. I really literally was like, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not meant to be doing this. Maybe I don't belong here. And it was especially like jarring because it felt like no matter how hard I worked, I wasn't ever going to be seen as a leader in the way that my white peers were seen as leaders. Mm-hmm. Some of the people who got those jobs had about the same experience as me. Some had a little bit more, some had a little bit less, but like functionally speaking, we were all kind of on the same level. And I made it to the final 2 candidates every time, and every time it wasn't me.
Yes.
And like, yes, absolutely thinking through / spending a lot of time with my therapist talking about like a need for validation and like whether it matters what my industry thinks of me versus what I think of me. But at the same that still hurts.
Yeah.
Even the most like secure and self-confident person I think knows that hurts.
And I have to say, like, Friday things, if you're like, I don't care, shameless plug from me. If you haven't read, like, your writing is phenomenal, Stacy. It's
like one of the only newsletters
analysis
I
that
read.
you do on pop culture. Can I tell you a funny story? The way that
Always.
The way that Stacy and I know each other is because I had that moment where I need to leave the corporate world. I was there for 18 years. I'm like, I need to go. Like, I did my journalism degree, but I was sort of always straddling it on the side with Fuchsia magazine. And then when I left, I'm like, okay, I need to make some more money. I'm going to start freelance writing. Flair. My first freelance writing gig with Flair. And I remember it was at TIFF. I had come out of a great interview. I got a call from one of the editors saying, we're firing you. What the hell did you do? You plagiarized yourself. I plagiarized myself.
It was an accident.
And then I found out the boss behind that hire was Stacy Lee Kong.
I wasn't the boss.
It was the worst thing I've ever done. I felt so terrible that I plagiarized.
You fired her?
But I plagiarized me because I was supposed to have an interview with Mindy Kaling.
Right.
And then it didn't happen. So then I sort of talked
And you just didn't cite it properly.
I talked about, like...
It's not, like...
Anyways.
It wasn't...
That's how you know each other?
That's how we know each other.
But, I will say... We did not know each other at all.
We didn't know each other at all. She's like, who is this idiot? And then
I never said that. First of all, I never said that.
And then I was like, oh, I should go back to the corporate world. I don't belong.
No, but then you still, like, reached out. Like, we still talked. You still reached out to me. We still ended up working together.
Totally.
I think it's, like, really a credit to, and, like, so telling of, like, with the grace that we give each other versus the grace that we don't always receive.
Yes.
Like,
see, compassion goes a long way.
yeah, okay, fine. Fine. Anyways, but yes, and now we've known each other for, like, when was that? 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 2016 is when I left.
Right. So, like, it's been a long time.
Yes.
Anyways, but yes.
It's a wild story.
It is a wild story.
It
is a wild story. I had forgotten
I'm
that
obsessed
story
with that.
completely. Anyways,
Do you want to know how upset I was? I was crying. I went into the Food Basic
oh no,
parking lot and I hit a car.
You hit a car?
Car.
I did not know that.
Stacy!
I'm a hot mess.
I just said you have to cite your interviews.
The food came out of my mouth. I'm so embarrassed.
She hit a car.
I hit a car and I was crying.
But you do have to cite your interviews.
The lady came out. She's like, you just hit me. I'm like, I know, I just got fired from my first freelance job. She's like, why'd you hit me? I'm like, I don't know. And then John's calling me, did you pick up the chicken? No.
No chicken. You figure out dinner. Anyway, so that was a big moment for a lot of us.
Wow. Okay, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
So many Flair stories.
A lot of Flair stories. But it was like Flair was like a moment, I think, in Canadian journalism that I don't know that
I
people
think so,
understand.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
that was the first time that I was able to speak to people my own age, people who had the same variety of interests as me. We could talk about Fenty Foundation, but we could also talk about racism in the same, like, it saw me in my totality, and it was, and we were able to do that for other people. And because I was on the back end and I could see the metrics, I knew that people wanted that.
Right. Yeah.
those stories did really well.
Yeah.
And so when I didn't get the sort of mainstream industry buy-in that I had so wanted, eventually after like a lot of conversations with with like lots of different people, I kind of realized that maybe I wasn't, it wasn't about me. It wasn't like my skills were the problem. It's who sees me as a
Yes.
leader.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I still want to do this, so I'm just going to do it myself. And it's funny because I think like we were all in that moment around the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
It's
different
very
ways.
true.
In different ways.
Yeah.
We all were, and I don't think that's a coincidence that we had been in our careers for a certain amount of time, and eventually you get tired of not being seen, and not being recognized, and not being valued, and not being trusted.
Yeah. Or you just get fired.
Listen, there are many paths.
Just saying.
There are many paths. That's all I can say.
Okay, so I want to touch on something a little messier, like the messier part.
Messier than that?
than this, okay?
Oh, God.
Messier than a car crash.
please.
Okay, we have to admit, as Asians, we have a lot of internalized racism.
Oh yeah.
We have a problem with racism, not racism, discrimination within our own unique Asian identities, but also with other
Between-
Asians and then other communities.
marginalized
Like,
groups,
I have to call it out. Like, there is a lot of anti-blackness in Asian communities. And so, Madelyn, I wanted to ask you first, as editor-in-chief, creator of Representation Project, do you feel some sort of responsibility or, I don't know, a pull to represent Asians in a certain light? Like, you don't want to show that messier side?
No.
Okay.
I think I used to.
Yeah.
I think.
And I say that because there's not a lot of representation projects, right?
Right. I think now, I've transitioned my career to also be a therapist, and I think
Yeah.
that's just been a personal learning journey for me of embracing messiness. I've always been someone who wanted to appear very put together. It's very Chinese, right? Save face, like you don't
Yeah.
want people to see that you're struggling. But now I'm kind of just embracing like, no, there are messy parts to me, just like there are for everyone else. Like I am quite chaotic, and I'm just going to embrace it. But I think it's really important to create that safe environment, this community, feel of being able to talk about the hard things that we're not used to talking about, that we're used to just sweeping under
Yeah.
the rug. So I think being able to open up that conversation and facilitate it and kind of approach it more so with curiosity as opposed to being defensive about it, which is totally fair, right? That
And
we would do
normal.
that. Right.
Yes.
But I think it is really, really important to talk about these things that we are scared to discuss because we do need to address
We do.
anti-blackness within the Asian community.
We have a lot.
Colorism,
Yeah.
right? Like there are so many different things. Mental health, like
But I
so
sort of
much.
respect that you do that because I think because there aren't that many Represent Asian projects, there aren't that many publications that are specifically focused on uplifting Asian voices. There can be that pressure, and sometimes you'll see it in the comment section, or you'll see it in like
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
of people just wanting to be celebratory, and
Yeah.
so it's like really admirable that you're like, yeah, we are celebrating, but we are also holding ourselves accountable. Like we are also going to be real about.
We have
I
to.
also I think we're in the right time because I have to say I'm older than you guys. When I started Fuchsia, that was 2009. I prettied it up. It was a glossy magazine. That was when print was big. We were
Yeah.
in Chapters in Indigo. I wanted people to pick it up, but inside, and I had it on the cover probably 3 times. Shadism. I didn't even know the word colorism.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it was sort of too ahead of its time. People were not
Ready for
having
that.
They were
those
ready for that
conversations.
conversation.
And then eventually we stopped printing because people weren't ready for those conversations. But I feel the time is right now. I feel like people are more open to having those conversations.
I think that's true.
Question is there specific aspects of our Asian culture that should be more prominently featured in mainstream media?
My mouth is full, so you go first.
I'll go. I think it is that nuance and that also like understanding of diversity within cultures. Like it's sometimes funny for me to be included in conversations about Asian culture because I am like so diasporic. So my grandpa is half Chinese, or was half Chinese rather, but I don't have like a up close and personal relationship with his culture. He died when I was like 8 or 9, so he taught me how to use chopsticks, but like we didn't have meaningful conversations. And like he lived in Trinidad and I lived here, and also being Chinese from Trinidad is not the same as being Chinese from China. It's not the same as being Chinese from Toronto. Like it's just not the same. And I wish that we had a better understanding that like actually, and maybe this is a little bit naive or like a little bit, I don't know, Pollyanna-ish, but actually the divisions are actually, they're not that firm between us, right? Like there's probably more that connects us than divides us. And also our cultures are, thank you, colonization, like there are going to be things that we have that are similar. And so the desire to sort of put up these firm barriers to say like these are these people and these are these people, they just aren't reflected in my own life.
Yeah.
Like I could never think of myself as only part of a Chinese diaspora, only part of a South Asian diaspora, only Caribbean, only Canadian. Like I couldn't think of myself as one of those things. None of us, I think, can.
Yeah.
And so if we had a little bit more appetite for the messiness, which like also, I also want to be perceived as put together and knowing what I'm doing. I struggle a lot with like, what if people know that I just don't know what I'm doing ever? But if we had more capacity for that, maybe then we could have these conversations in a more like effective, productive way.
Yeah. You made me think of something. I'm gonna have a lot of stories today.
Oh God, okay, I'm ready.
When you're like, only Trinidadian, only South Indian, only Chinese. Okay, so I did one of those DNA, whatever, 23andMe. Mm-hmm. And I was really excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a bunch of these things. Guys, I'm 99% Indian.
What's the one?
What's the one? What?
Which is probably a statistical error.
It might be. Yeah.
So,
Well, that's hilarious.
yeah. But my
so
kids now will be a lot of a lot.
Yeah.
Because my husband did the test, and he has, because his dad is Spanish, he has that European DNA. He has the Indian DNA because his mom is Guyanese, Indian Guyanese. And then he has a whole bunch of other
Stuff.
cultures going on. And then my kids are going to have the Indian side. So their 23andMe is going to look
poppin'.
Yeah, it's going to be popping.
There's 100 little things in that chart.
Yes. Okay, so on the upside, what are some of your current favorite Asian-led projects? Representation project?
Representation project, Naan Fiction. Like I actually am so excited.
Things.
But I'm so excited by the fact that like we're doing these things. There's so many things that are not. I think I wrote a newsletter about this. I do think the future of Canadian media is independent. Like I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity and a lot of really cool projects coming up that are not necessarily like big budget, huge, like legacy media. And those are the things that excite me the most because when you, I don't know, I think when you disconnect a little bit from these traditional ideas of what success looks like and like none of us are trying to emulate the big legacy publications. Like we're figuring out how to do things in our own way.
Yes.
And even for me, like my initial idea for Friday Things was a replica of the women's media brands that I had worked at before. And now 4 years later, I have a way different and I think bigger idea of what Friday Things can be, but also what I can do.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden I have these skills that I didn't realize I had. All of a sudden I have these like, I can see myself doing things that I never thought I could do or would want to do or whatever. So the opportunity and the excitement and the energy there, like that's so cool.
Yeah.
Mine is like not as wholesome as Stacy's.
Well, because we have to have balance. Sometimes I'm not wholesome and Madelyn is.
Loved The Brother's Son on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
That was a really, really great show. Loved seeing Michelle Yeoh, be Michelle Yeoh, and like I feel like she's changed. Like she has a different aura to her now that she's like an Oscar winner, and I love it for her. And also, I'm obsessed with Singles Inferno. Have you heard of it?
No.
Have you
Tell
heard of
me
it?
more.
So it's a Netflix show, and it's like a Korean dating show where they're like on an island, Inferno, and they have to like match up with people and pick each other to go to paradise. So it's kind of like
Temptation
like-
Island.
or like
kind
Love
of,
Island
but
or
it's like the
something?
Yeah.
Korean version of it, and like they're so wholesome. The commentators are so funny. Like they come in, and then it's just like really cool to see because we don't see a lot of Asians on dating shows. So to have like a fully Asian dating show is really, really cool.
That is cool.
So it's just a fun watch.
I loved beef.
Yes.
There's some beef with beef.
Yes. I loved beef too.
It's complicated.
Beef
Yeah.
is complicated, but I did enjoy watching it.
But I think that's the direction that, if we think about Asian representation, that's the direction that it's going, or it should be going, right? And it's
Yes.
like embracing those messy parts. It's
Right.
showing, you know, not just one specific side or stereotype. It's really showing like a bigger picture of what, especially in that case, being Asian American is.
Yeah.
Yes, but they are quite singular. Like, my experience of being a woman of color is completely different from yours and completely different from yours. And you can't, like, I don't know when I'm ever going to see someone who represents me on TV. Right? Like a real, whole, full representation of me on TV. Like, when will that ever happen?
Unless it's you.
Unless it's you.
Unless it's me.
But
But,
that's
like,
the thing, even all of
that's a lot of pressure, guys.
all of our experiences are so uniquely
That's
different,
it.
right? Like individual experience. So unless it's you or you or you, like you won't actually see that specificity,
Yeah. Correct.
but you will see something that resonates with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that feels familiar. And I
We
think
just
that's
need more. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
that's
It's just
why
more.
things
Give us
like
more.
beef and like crazy itch raisins.
What?
Crazy itch raisins. Crazy rich
rich
Asians.
Asians.
Because some people
I thought this was a parody you were talking about.
some people
Like, oh, I haven't heard of that
I was like, I
one.
haven't heard of that.
I loved it, but some people didn't. They didn't like that depiction
Right.
of Asians. But the whole thing was that's just
That's just
that
one. But that's
story,
the
right?
problem when we uphold something as the, like, oh my God, we put so
The
much
beacon.
on this beacon of hope because it's like it finally gets told. One
Yeah.
Asian story finally gets told.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, there are so many more.
yeah.
You could have told Crazy Rich Asians from the perspective of the, you know, like, South Asian people, the more dark-skinned people, the people who are not as wealthy, who are working as staff and all. Like, you
Right.
could have done one of those kind of, like, behind the stairs, like, what's the staff perspective on all of these wealthy people.
Lulu Wang's Expats,
Yeah.
episode 105. Looks
Is
at
that okay?
Yeah.
Episode 105.
Yes, very specific.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm being very serious here.
Hopefully, I feel like we laughed a lot.
No, I know. Okay, so I want to play a new game that I have invented.
I love it. I'm
Trademark.
excited already.
Copyright.
Dear Auntie instead of
Dear Abby,
Abby. Yes.
Love
I'm
that.
ready.
Or in Stacy's case,
What?
it's like, so I have to say, like, so you're like Auntie Stacy or Stacy Auntie. I think.
Oh,
as a
we're
trainee-
Auntie Stacy. For me, it would be Auntie Stacy. It wouldn't be Stacy Auntie.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about you,
Auntie Madeline.
Auntie Madeline?
Well, but in
Same.
Chinese it
I
would
was
be
gonna say-
Madeline Yi, so
See,
it would
we're
be
the.
like,
I'm like Meera Auntie.
Right. Okay, so that's fine.
Anyways, we're all aunties here, okay? Will you accept this naan and be an auntie?
Yes, actually. Can I have
Will
some of
we
that?
accept this shot and be an auntie?
We're gonna do the shots after.
I would have done it even without the bribery of food, you guys. Like,
Yeah,
totally.
I was gonna say shots of tequila, like shots of that.
What is
I think it's pani puri.
I think it is pani puri, which
But
is not
maybe
the same as tequila at all, but okay.
Deconstructed.
Okay. Sure.
Anyways, we'll try it after.
Okay.
Let's first do our dear auntie
I'm ready.
dilemma.
Oh, jeez. I'm
Okay.
nervous.
This is a dilemma we are dealing with.
Oh, no.
It's called family divided. This is a true story.
Is it going to be throw this whole man
Da, da,
away?
da.
Like, is
Wait,
that
is
the...
Wait, whose story is this?
This is where you need like the Indian
Where did you
zoom in.
find this?
Oh, so our wonderful producer Katie found this in the depths of Reddit.
The depths of Reddit scares me, so good on Katie.
Yeah, that's very brave. I'm so ready.
Okay, so here it is. Okay, so she says, or sorry, this person says, we had a family member buy lotto tickets as Christmas presents. Someone won a very large amount, and now the person who gave the tickets believes they are entitled to some of the money. What are your thoughts?
Oh, no.
What if this was you in this position?
If it was me?
You gotta accept the L.
Yeah, like...
If you were the giver of the ticket, do you
Yeah.
feel like
So
you're
in real
entitled?
life, you have to accept the L, but I would have so many feelings about that. I would have so many ideas about what to do with that money, and I'd be so sad that I couldn't have any of it. But you can't. Like, you give a gift. It's not for
gave
you.
a gift.
Yes.
But that is why I also give my, like, I'll do, for my parents' stockings, I'll do lottery tickets. But they understand because I have told them that if they win, they have to share.
Okay. So
Like
that's
I
okay.
have student loans, and so they need to help me out.
I thought you said I give stocks as gifts.
No, in stockings, in our Christmas stockings. I wish I was that much of a
who gives a
baller.
lottery ticket has to preface, if you want the money, if you win, I have to take like a 10% cut.
Well, I think I can only do that with my parents. Like I don't think I can do that with anybody else.
So what
Yeah.
should this guy,
Take the L.
Ramesh, what
You
should
have
he
to.
do?
You have to take the L. You can't do anything.
That's not
but-
your money,
can't
bro.
do it.
And just hope that maybe they'll be generous
Maybe,
and give you
yeah.
some. Give you some.
Exactly.
Or buy you something nice.
Yeah.
That-
Also, if you
we
gave
solved
a
that.
lottery ticket as the only present, like that's what, $10? Relax,
You're
guys.
so
a lot.
mean. Like, come
A
on,
lottery
that's
ticket's
not
what?
nice.
Isn't it $2?
I don't know.
I haven't bought the lottery.
I buy a
Guys.
lottery ticket for my parents' stockings,
It's
and
not
then
about
that's
the
it.
amount. It's about the gesture.
But that's what I'm saying. So, okay, your gesture was a fairly easy to execute gift.
Your gesture was a $10 gesture.
It wasn't very. Not to say that the expense is important, but it wasn't like a thoughtful $10 gift. You went to the
Next time
convenience
I'm buying
store.
Stacy a present.
Like, do not ever get Stacy a lottery ticket.
You can, but I'm not sure. No, I'm joking. But I just mean like that's a lot of expectation for not a lot of effort. Like it's not like he thought about, oh my god, what does this person want?
But
He
it's
was
a big
like,
effort. It's like, I could potentially make you a millionaire.
is that a big effort?
I don't know.
If you go to the convenience store and you're like, can you give me a quick pick with Encore, which probably is $2?
I don't even know
Is
how to play
that a
lottery.
big? Exactly. So first of all, exactly.
Scratch tickets?
Scratch tickets.
Okay, none of us clearly play lottery.
But that's even less effort, no? You don't even have to ask for any. Like you just. I don't think that's that big an effort.
You
a
have to
game.
pick them.
okay,
Yeah, but are you picking them based on what you think is gonna win, or are you like, oh, I like the picture on this one? Like,
pictures. There's
I'm
no
pretty sure
pictures.
there's
There's only
pictures.
numbers.
I mean, I would say if the person picked the numbers specifically, then maybe they are entitled
fine,
to some
maybe.
of the money.
maybe, but still,
No,
I just think it's
probably
so
not.
interesting that you position this as like a gift with so much effort. Where I'm like, I don't know, that's some shit that I throw in my parents' stocking. Like, it's not a thoughtful gift.
I get really excited when somebody gives me a lottery ticket, and I put it on the fridge. And
No one's ever given me a lottery ticket.
I guess because it's hopeful.
exactly, it's
It's like a
gift-
wish
it's
for
like the-
abundance.
yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
nice.
beautiful.
I like that way of thinking.
Think
of
about
it.
Sure,
it.
you
for
still
a
only get to go to the
guys,
convenience
I was gonna
store.
say, like, what a beautiful Lunar New Year gift in the red envelope.
A lottery ticket. No,
A
I'd rather
lottery
have the
ticket?
cash.
No. Do you
like
want
the
the
hope.
hope of money or actual money?
I want both.
It's
me both.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah.
good.
Give me both. Give me both.
Okay, before we end off, I have to. Madelyn is also a model now.
I
Lunar
know.
New Year campaign.
Very chic.
Sephora's.
I'm going to
everywhere.
Sephora on my way home. Specifically, well, I'm going to Sephora to buy primer, but specifically to take a photo of my friend as a model.
Yes, she is. Tell us who's in this campaign.
I am with the Hannah Sung, who
An
is
icon.
an icon in Canadian media. Someone I've looked up to for a very long time, so it was very, very cool to be alongside her. Julie Vu, who is a transgender activist and a makeup artist. Cher Bai, who is a fashion influencer, and Jennifer Nguyen, who is a writer and stylist. So with a really
it.
great group of women, it's really surreal. It's very big. It's very weird to see her
It's not
face.
even
I
life
know.
size. It's like,
It's like
triple
very-
life size
I-
Madelyn.
It's very
I
big.
am so excited for you when I saw
Thank
the
you.
very bigness of it. I'm like, yo, that's my friend. Right there.
Yeah, I know that girl.
The funniest thing was my partner finally went to go see it, and he was in the store, and he was texting me, and he's like, I'm just staring at it. I'm so proud. And he's like, I want to cry. And he's like, I had to leave the store because I'm just this like weird Asian guy in a makeup store just crying at a wall.
Sounds
He
like
could be
those
like,
Sephora
that's my
kids.
partner. He could explain that if he wanted to, but it's okay.
There's a bunch of kids crying in Sephora stores lately.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So, well, they're not
Yeah.
crying because they're getting their Drunk Elephant skincare, which I can't afford, but
Yes.
you do you, babes.
With that, we shall take our shot.
Okay.
How do we do this?
Are we doing this on camera?
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
That feels awkward.
But
That's
Thanks.
I don't know,
Thanks.
guys.
Do you drink it first and then eat it?
Yeah, what is the
that
order
was
that
for
we're
you.
doing
Oh,
this in?
sorry.
That's
Here.
okay.
Guys. Oh, cheers. Okay, let's cheers.
Cheers. Oh, okay.
Or how do we do it?
Cheers.
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 Make the eye contact.
Oh,
Now,
sorry.
now what happens, guys?
I don't know.
I think we pour.
Are we pouring it in?
I'm clearly a bad Indian. Okay, I think.
Okay. This is gonna be so
you
messy.
can't
My
drink
mouth
it
is
just
not
like
that
that.
big. Oh. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Oops.
Ah!
okay. Bad
It's
host
delicious.
moment. It's so
A little messy, but delicious. I noticed that you did not put the whole thing in your mouth. Like of all of us.
I couldn't fit it in my mouth. And then all the juice dripped out.
I'm choking on the juice.
Anyways, thank you for being part of Naan Fiction.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being messy.
Thanks for being messy with us.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Naan Fiction. A big thanks to Aunt Restaurant downtown Toronto on Wellington Street. The food was phenomenal. We got a little messy with it because we loved it so much. Definitely check them out. Thank you again, Aunt, for hosting us. Thank you to our two awesome guests, Madelyn and Stacy. And thank you for watching this episode. We're also on podcast. If you're more of an audio podcast person, everywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, you name it, you can find us. And sometimes you get a little bit of extra on that audio version as well. So tune into that as well. We are on socials, Instagram, TikTok, at Nonfiction Show. And you know what? I want to know what you want to know. This show is meant for you. And so tell me what you want me to dive into when it comes to the Asian experience. Until next time, stay kind, stay compassionate, and keep it spicy.